Luna's song in the future, and I've found it.
I just
Oh,
know that I
nice.
facepalmed at this person and went, okay, I'm not talking to you now. I mean, there's good episodes that are original works, and then there's okay episodes that are ripoffs of unoriginal work, and then there's good episodes, and then there's terrible episodes that are original work, and there's bad ripoffs. The point is, this kind of falls below that original work category by a long shot. I think that's always just a judgment I give for something is does it take what you're doing in a new direction? Is it original to what you're doing, or is it ripping off something that already exists without making any significant addition? Anyway, how's everybody doing? We're live, by the way, I think. Yeah, we're live.
I'm doing fine.
I'm good.
I am good.
Good.
Just in the road, but sorry if you hear some background stuff.
So, should I start the episode?
Sure.
Might be a good idea.
Do it, Philly.
Only because you called me a filly.
Okay.
You know, one of these days, particularly for the series finale, we're just going to have everyone here all at once.
To be fair, most of the people who aren't here have a good reason called Endgame. That's a justifier.
Oh no, that's not the reason. That's not the reason.
This week it is. Everybody's seeing Endgame this week.
Yeah. Don't remind me.
I want to see Start Game.
Anyway,
I mean, I watched it today early morning. So.
Anyway, on to something else we're going to thoroughly spoil for all of you who are here. Season 9, Episode 3, Uprooted. It's what we're all here to actually talk about. Do you guys believe we're closing in on having done this podcast for a year?
That
That is weird.
Everybody's finalizing their plans for BronyCon this year, and I'm looking over and going, we started this the week after BronyCon.
Really?
Woo! It's gonna be our birthday soon.
I'm 1 year old. Alright, so I have with me a bunch of people who I'm going to allow to introduce themselves and share the links to their content page that they provided me. We're going to then talk about Uprooted, the episode in which the Student Six are brought by the Tree of Harmony to, I don't know, fix it? Anyway, Insane Spyro, tell us about yourself.
I am Insane Spyro, the greatest dragon in gaming, let's player, game pundit, and reviewer, and the artist of this little podcast.
Hello, everybody. This is your super awesome ace analyst, Master Code, reviewing everything involved with the ponies, from the series to the show, the books, everything in.
Oh, it's my turn.
Moonlight.
Hello, I'm Moonlight. I do some reviews, I do videos, and I review episodes with this lovely bunch of people who may or may not have watched Endgame, so please no spoilers.
Hey there, everybody. Shoujo here. I do Let's Plays, reviews, and lots of other stuff. And here once again with all these lovely people to review Uprooted. Brony Critic?
I am the Brony Critic. I review fandom and fan content because every fandom needs a critic. I'll move right on back to Fiaura.
I am your host, Fiaura the Tank Girl, the only one to actually successfully publish my horse words legally. That's just bragging rights for the rest of my life, isn't it?
Well, I mean, that's kind of hard for me because I'm not a horse, so I'd be producing dragon words.
See,
But
he gets it, putting in a joke. You know, we gotta make up for the fact. We gotta make up for the fact that Jasper's not here and Golden's not here. They're both off seeing it. They're both off seeing Endgame, and that means that we don't have their arguing and their banter. So we kind of have to make up for it a little bit. All right, this is an odd number episode, so I guess that means we start at the top. So, Insane Spyro, Initial thoughts. 1 minute, 180 seconds. Go.
All right, so I thought this episode was okay. I obviously were a week behind, so going off of last week and then next week, this one sits in the middle, and I'm like, it's good. It's all right. It's kind of predictable, especially a little bit at the end. But the thing I'm kind of like the most disappointed at is the actual beginning, and what a waste of talent it is. Because we go to the dream realm, and we see all of these weird, like, stairs leading to nowhere, discorded landscape, and it's just there for 2 seconds. Somebody put a lot of effort into that, and it's just been thrown away. It was just gone. It's like you could have used that in a full episode. However, though, it has rung us the greatest scene in the entire series, if not the entire 1 through 9 overall. That is Princess Smolder accepting that she is a true British dragon princess, drinking a jolly old good cup of tea, Pinky out, of course, following in my footsteps. No, I'm good for a second. You don't believe I'm a princess, do you?
Well, we don't see you in a dress.
Right, well, you know what, good sir? There's your preemptive. I am a princess, and I also went the gala with the Smooze because he was an adorable, amazing dude when he was there.
Unlike Blue Blood.
And
I'm-
yours broken again.
I'm not gonna ask any questions. Master code 180 seconds. What do you got?
Okay, Uprooted. So, overall, my thoughts are this episode was okay. There was a lot of good stuff in it, but I'll just go through it. So, again, the opening dream sequence was a lot of fun. I like Silverstream, doing the whole superhero landing and stuff. I love Sandbar's great dilemma of, oh no, there's too much to this side. It was a nice little dream sequence. I do actually like the part where the students actually get to the school and, they find out about the tree and whatnot. And that was actually a very well executed scene where the students, they were legit emotionally distressed about it. And that was a very good, well directed scene. Like they were taking this episode seriously. It's like they hear the news and it's like, can we see the tree? When I was like, oh, that's so sad. And even when they get there, they go through organic series of personalities or emotions where it's like some are angry, some are sad, some are
hold.
I'm like, okay, this
I
is
missed
great.
y'all
I'm loving
five.
this. I'm digging this. Let's see what else. And then, overall, the first act flows very well. It's the second act where things start to fall apart. Again, all the students are characterized very well, I think, but the first problem is the whole part with the students having to ask permission to stay here and help with the tree. That was a minute and a half almost. Actually, yeah, a minute and a half of wasted material. I mean, was it funny? Yeah, there were some funny bits, like with Gallus getting shoved out the door, or cool part with Smolder winning that arm wrestling contest. But overall, it accomplishes nothing, and you could have spent much more time devoted to the tree and stuff. That was just a wasted scene. And then I'll just get to the obvious part where everyone is comparing it to Castle Sweet Castle, and it's like, I'll just go through that quickly. Because, okay, so let's see. We're creating a memorial to a fallen tree icon. Check. Everyone has different ideas. Check. Everyone argues. Check. Leads to meltdown. Check. Song sequence. Check. It's like, I'm okay for recycling some plot elements or way that things flow, as long as it's altered in some way, but it's pretty much predictable how it's going to go. We've seen this exactly before. Um, there was some good stuff, like Gallus was hilarious as a sales pony, trying to selling this as the greatest museum, like a mystery spot or whatever. I thought he was hilarious. I like the scene with Smoller trying to make the memorial out of rock. It was kind of funny, but it's also kind of sad when she says, I don't even remember what the tree looked like. Again, that was a very nice little powerful subtle moment right there. It's like forgetting a friend you haven't seen for years, and it's like I don't even remember what this person looked like. That was a very nice moment. Let's see, going through my notes, but the star of the show was Yona. She was absolutely amazing, the smartest one. Just pulling everyone together, making them see how silly they've all been. Yona, she is like second, number 2 in my favorite of the Student 6 right now. She was awesome. As for the song itself, it was okay. Again, it felt very similar to Make This Castle a Home in like terms of tune and stuff. So I don't really have much to say about that. Let's see. The tree itself, the new crystal tree. I thought it looked kind of pretty cool. It's all crystalline with blue and purple hues, and it actually looks like it belongs in the area, in the Castle of Two Sisters, where Twilight's castle sticks out like a sore thumb. So in the end, characterization wise, everything was good. There was a lot of good humor and gags and stuff. It's just they just recycle Castle Sweet Castle too much, and it was just too predictable for me. So it was okay, but that's it for me. So on to the next.
All right, Moon Knight, what you got for us? Moon Knight.
Can the next one pass, because I think there's a lot of sound. Can the next one pass, and then I'll do
Jojo.
Okay. Honestly, I gotta say that I like this episode. After the abysmal thing that was the season premiere, it was nice to just have an okay episode. Nothing too grand happened, nothing too mysterious happened. It was just a nice episode with the Student 6 being themselves, being friends, trying to do something nice for the Tree of Harmony, and trying to make it remembered for all the other creatures in Equestria. And while it does resemble Castle Sweet Castle in some ways, like with what Master Code said, it was kind of a little bit interesting. It was still good to me, even though we've already treaded this plot line a few seasons back. Like the song, although the tree, the implications of what happened with the tree may be what I'm confused about. So I'll talk about that later and pass it on to Brony Critic.
All right, Critic.
So when I was watching this episode, I didn't really have a strong opinion one way or the other. I didn't hate the season premiere. I kind of enjoyed it. I enjoyed certain elements of it. I had fun. I do recognize there are a lot of problems with it. King Sombra, Prince Blueblood voice. That was a little distracting. But one of the elements I liked about the season 9 premiere is that it had what appeared to be a lasting change. It destroyed the Tree of Harmony. This element that has existed in the franchise longer than it hasn't existed in the franchise. Just as a kind of a context to show how long we've been at this now. We've been in a show where the Tree of Harmony has existed longer than one where it hasn't. And I figured that, since the season premiere didn't give us the newest play set for this, for the show, that, one of the episodes would be introducing it, or even bringing the tree back. I kind of figured that would probably happen at some point. I just didn't count on it being the very next episode. But that's the one element I don't really care for. I wish this episode had maybe happened later in the season, although maybe they're building up to something to do with the finale, since this episode also seems to be implying that the young six are going to play a bigger role in the season finale, like they did in the previous season. At which point, then maybe this does make sense, and we need to see it within context. But as far as the episode itself, where it stands on its own, I think it's okay. Like, it obviously has a lot of elements taken from other episodes, but after 100+ episodes, that's bound to happen at some point. And what really works in this episode is that each one of the character's suggestions fits in with how that character works, how that character reacts. And so it feels very earnest. It feels earned. It doesn't feel like anything was pulled out of its butt for this episode. All the characters reacted in exactly the way you would expect them to act. I liked all of the interactions between the characters. Like, there's genuinely good comedy and genuinely good heart throughout the episode. And even the parts that maybe I wish maybe weren't included or underplayed a little bit were still enjoyable, to say the least. It's not a great episode, but it's a good, solid episode, and I think it's helping to get us back into the swing of the show, because it has been a little bit since since the previous season, so they need to kind of wind us up into the show. VR?
Is that everything?
It is for me.
Did Moon Knight want to go now?
Alright, well, I'll buy him some more time. What did I think of this episode? Let's see here. I did not like it. You established the stakes in the opening. You really set them up. You told us you were going to break all the rules. And then you put your safety net back up.
Hold on. What stakes?
The stakes are that they're basically forming a Legion of Doom.
Okay, but you're saying like they raised.
And then the one thing that Sombra did manage to do, break the Tree of Harmony and break the Elements of Harmony, you just undid it, like, at the flick of a hat, the very next episode. It kind of makes the opening of the season feel hollow. Like,
You undid it at the end of. You undid it at the end of episode 1 anyway, when everybody got unstupefied, and it was never the crystals; it was the people.
Asgard is not the place; it's the people.
I think what Fee's saying is, this is like the Tree of Harmony is one of the most important things in Equestria, one of the most important iconic artifacts, or that has the elements of harmony, and it's destroyed. It's like, oh no, what are we gonna do? It's gone. This thing that's protected Ponyville, kept every forest at bay forever. Oh, and now it's back, Nick.
And it's a clubhouse too.
I mean, if you
No, go on first.
No.
You haven't had a chance to go.
So, because you did all that, like, I mean, I like that the Student 6 finally got a song. That's all just them. It was nice. Some of the cool things, like Princess Smolder and Yona being best creature again, and Silverstream just being the super autistic art student. That works. It works beautifully well, but the whole premise of this episode just feels like a cop-out to me.
oh, what? Sorry.
A cop-out. We said we were gonna we broke the one thing that's been here since season 1 that's been keeping everyone unified. We just broke it, and now we put it back together and made it better.
Yeah,
But it
I can kind of
hasn't.
agree with that.
No, I do not agree with this. the elements were used in season 1 to get rid of Nightmare Moon, get rid of Discord, and they were treated as these magical jewels. But in the very first episode, Nightmare Moon shattered the jewels. They were never the jewels. And then, like, for all of season 3, we didn't see them. Cadence beat Chrysalis. Then the Crystal Heart beat Sombra. They were just gone. Then we had the keys to that magic box, so the elements of harmony were still gone. And then in season 5, they were like, oh yeah, the jewels. We got to put the jewels in the tree because something will happen. Like, they're not, they're just stones. They're not special. It's the people.
Yeah, but the belief is that the power comes from the tree and flows into the people, and now you've made the Tree of Harmony sentient over the last season, and now you're playing with it, which is great, except for, what was the whole point of breaking it then?
I mean,
you go first.
I mean, I'm still trying to get through my 180 seconds and then pass it to Moon Knight, but what was the point of breaking it?
I'll answer the same question. What was the point of Rainbow Power in the box? Because it was used once and then thrown away.
Yeah. If you create a magical MacGuffin, you should have a purpose for it, is my point. And this is another time where they've created a magical MacGuffin, destroyed it, and then done nothing with its destruction, except for just break it.
Well, and though, again, I do see where that was Moon Knight who said that, right? Or was it Master Code? I forget who mentioned about the elements of harmony only ever being used. The elements of harmony have only ever been used 3 times in the entire run of the show. 4 if you count flashback. Well, I guess technically 5. Technically 5 if you count flashback.
Well, and passively, it's been, helping, keep down the every.
So I'm gonna say that I like the season opener. I hate this episode. Anyway, Moon Knight, you're 180. Go. We can't hear you. I bought you all the time in the world. We can't hear you. Still can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. I actually like this episode. I don't see really the problem. Like, it's obviously after the season premiere and season finale, and before the season finales and all of that. Like, sometimes some episodes get a little bit, what should we call it? It's a little bit in the low kind of episodes where not really a lot may happen. But I think we've got worse episodes that follow up with premieres. This episode, it's kind of, I mean, we were all knowing what was going to happen and maybe knowing what was going to be the end result. But the journey throughout, I think it was actually a little bit better than Castle Sweet Castle, because honestly, it's what happens with most of the Student 6 episodes. I think that they're different enough that they're not just the same idea kind of recycled, but at the same time they kind of give it this different sort of style, because Galus being a Griffin, he wanted to get a ton of money, and that's why he's making sort of the museum, because I think that was more sort of his thing to like get people to know it, because this is great, and this is a great tree and the puppet show and everything. Silverstream, was the the kind of artsy, expressive sort of student around, but I think it was a little bit better than I saw recently the Marks for Effort review of Josh Scorcher. So I think it's done a lot better than that art student over there. For Yona, she was the voice of reason. I think was actually a very good voice of reason. Usually they pick Sandbar sometimes in the past, but she's okay. There were some nice scenes, but I guess I'll discuss it a little bit later. But I actually like this episode, and the stakes. I mean, the Legion of Doom is supposed to be a recurring thing around the season, even though there's only one episode for them apparently, and like 10 episodes of the season. But yeah, I guess they don't really know how to write an Infinity War / Endgame arc. So what did you expect? There's not really high stakes because if you saw the commercials for the season premiere, I think there's a scene that they just showed us that it's not supposed to be like the premiere. I think it's actually the ending where they turn from like gray and uncolored to full color and everything. I think that's an ending scene, so they might have already spoiled us a little bit. And that's it for me.
Okay. Anybody have any specific themes or subject they want to bring up on this one? And of course, I'm taking Q&A from the chat. I've got a couple questions, but go ahead, Mr. Code.
I know Sergio was first.
Oh, my bad. Sure.
It won't be a surprise for what I said because you already talked about it, Fiaura, but one of the things that I wanted to talk about is just my confusions with the tree. So, for one thing, the tree created this treehouse of harmony, the tree itself, and Twilight's castle. So where's the actual tree supposed to be? Is this the new tree of harmony? Are the elements back into place and they can be used again and all that stuff? So if that's the case, then what was the point of Sombra destroying it in the two-parter? That just leaves it all to dust, and all the repercussions for what's going to be happening in future episodes is all just null and mute. And also, just how did the Treehouse of Harmony sprung from their amalgamation of all the parts from the previous tree? I just don't get it. Someone please explain it to me.
I can explain. No, I think I know what's wrong with it, and I know what's going to make both Shoujo and Fiaura happy.
Go for it.
All right, first of all, the tree is now everywhere. The roots are all under the land. The roots grew all the way from the Everfree Forest to near that lake and grew Twilight's castle. Then they grew under the school, and now they're growing again. And as for how it amalgamated from their little tree house, it's because the soul is not dead. I'm going to keep calling the tree Crystal Twilight for a minute so you know who I'm on about. But Crystal Twilight is alive. She was alive when they saw her in the dream. So as long as Crystal Twilight lives, the tree lives. So I think the only thing that's going to make you both very happy is let's go off the theory that Grogar is Satan. He has super powerful Satan magic, and he rips Crystal Twilight from her body. Like, the soul and the body are separate, and Grogar kills Crystal Twilight. Just boom, you're dead. Now the tree dies because it's just a tree. It was always ever just a tree, and it was Crystal Twilight, the soul, keeping it alive. And now Crystal Twilight's dead. Well, it's just a standard tree now. So I think that's what you all want. You just want the soul to be destroyed so that the tree can no longer rebuild.
Two episodes was if you're just going to undo any of the major damage that was caused, and it's like no one really learned anything.
Exactly. I wouldn't have minded the tree coming back if this happened later on in the season, but this came, well, not in a timeline sense right after, but kind of right after the two-parter. So there's not much time.
If there was any sense of effort required to do this, all they had to do was make a treehouse together. There was no challenge laid out before them. There was nothing really put before them that was going to challenge them other than just be friends. And
Please.
Anyway, Master Code, you had a point.
Master.
Yeah, so the first thing I want to talk about is it's really quick. It's at the end where they're talking about how they're talking to the Twilight's just arrived and they're asking like, how did this happen? How did this tree grow? And then Twilight, she said something. It was along the lines of, well, perhaps it deals with your friendship is stronger than you know. And I'm like, does that mean that the main six's friendship is not as strong anymore? It's like the elements of harmony. The main six. They've kind of been intertwined for the past few years since they first got acquainted with them, and now she's like, oh, but your friendship is stronger than you know. It's like, oh, okay, I guess the main chick's friendship isn't as strong anymore. Anyway, that was a little small part, but um, anyway, back to the argument we still keep bringing up, but let me try to put it in a different context. Maybe this will help. Let's see. Okay, so in the season opener, the elements again, the tree of harmony is destroyed. The elements are gone. It's like, oh no, what are we gonna do? What if and by the end, Somber's defeated, but it's like, what happens when the next big baddie comes? What super weapon, what Deus Ex Machina are we gonna use?
The elements.
Yeah.
Again, this is the problem. Like, you keep saying the elements are gone. What happens when the next big bad guy comes along? You use the elements. They're not gone because it's the main six or student six, because they did that thing with Cozy Glow. It's the people that are the elements, not the crystals. They were never gone. Sombra smashing the tree equaled nothing because the crystals were never the power.
The elements are the focus.
Yes, and that's the people, not the crystals.
They can outwork.
The elements were stones.
Okay, let's beyond that point. Let's say for in dramatic sequences, for a dramatic sake, let's say, okay, oh no, there's this huge weapon. We've lost our super weapon. Now what do we do? It's kind of like, we've lost our super weapon. What if Summer again came back for no reason? He just dropped out of the sky, or Eric just dropped out of the sky and just crushed Cantalot tomorrow. It's like, oh, what are we gonna do? And we got this big emergency going on, and the elements are gone, and it's like, what do we do? And I can get that from a dramatic standpoint. That makes sense. And it's like one episode later, it's like, oh, we rebuilt it because we wanted to give a new clubhouse and everything's back to the status quo.
Because merchandising.
No, but unfortunately, that's the problem when you've made your ultimate weapon a spiritual thing. It's like in Ragnarok when Thor's hammer breaks. It's like, oh no, that was the ultimate weapon. We can't stop evil sword lady. And then Odin's like, did I call you Thor, god of hammers? No, you've got the lightning inside of you. It's not the hammer that makes the lightning. It's your magic spirit that makes the lightning. And when you write your ultimate weapon as a spiritual item that can be passed from person to person, it doesn't matter how big and dramatic you want it to be. You could have Grogar get his bell and be like, right, I can be Thanos now, I've got my magic bell. Every single place in Equestria, Canterlot, Cloudsdale, all turn to dust. I win. And it's like, well, no, unless you kill literally every single person, if you leave 6 people alive, you've still got the ultimate weapon because the magic spirit magic goes to those 6 spirits. Like, it doesn't matter how devastating you go if your super weapon is a thing that can be transferred from person to person.
Objection! I present my attorney's badge.
Okay, so Spyro and I are going to have an argument about time travel after this. But in the meantime...
Yeah, someone bring up a new topic. Someone move on.
Does anyone else have anything they want to bring up? I understand that there's only half as many of us, so this is going to be a shorter episode. I see a Moon Knight and I see a Shoujo. So Moon Knight.
Okay, this kind of has to be this kind of is related to the other topic because I kind of wanted to say it. I think them rebuilding the tree. It's sort of, how should we call it? It's sort of representative of what the friendship is actually growing into. Because if you remember in the past, well, griffons were all mean and dragons are all mean, and so it's sort of the same, but not as the same. Because well, we still have Garble, we still have that greedy griffon that almost left Rainbow Dash to death. But now we have the Student Six that are basically the new sort of evolution of friendship, or if you want to call it like that. And I think that they didn't have to go to this magical place to restore the tree, or they didn't have to collect the freaking magical thingamajigs. I think it's more about even if you see it in the beginning, in the premiere, Grogar is it kind of shows, and I think I said it before. It kind of shows that Grogar was actually the one that created the other creatures that aren't ponies. So he basically created the dragons, the griffons, the hippogriffs, basically all the creatures that are mean and evil and greedy and everything that lives in the Everfree Forest. Grogar created him, and that's why they're all basically, well, they weren't really too keen on the idea of friends. But as Grogar disappeared because, well, apparently Starskull has one of his bells and banished him to Tartarus or where he was, I think it's more representative of that like creatures that Grogar created that were supposed to be evil can learn the ways of friendship, and they can actually be a little bit more of help on the main six. And actually, what Spyro said, like if he is only focused on destroying the main six, like I think he's already kind of screwed, because the Student Six can actually, well, we've seen it already because they restored the tree to this castle that they can't sell because they didn't show it on the toy fair. But they basically have a little bit more of a powerful connection, if you want to put it like that, because they basically restored his or her sort of physical form. But yeah, I think if he only focuses on the main six and the Student Six come, well, it's going to be the same thing, because friendship is going to be all around, not just because of the main six, but because of everyone. And they could actually make something interesting with all the ponies and creatures uniting to defeat Grogar, but I don't have too much faith in them.
Okay. Shoujo, you have something you want to weigh in with?
This may be just a small point that isn't really inconsequential in the bigger picture, but I just really like Spike and Twilight in this episode with how they were portrayed in the small moments that they're in. I just really like that, to see that she's still adorable and he's still the straight man to her.
You know what?
And
I'm gonna admit this. Next week episode, fine. Spike finally gets a bone.
I know.
I know.
We don't talk about it yet, so we don't spoil anything.
I haven't.
Spoilers.
No spoilers, no, especially on your car. All right. Does anyone have anything else they want to talk about, or should I move on to the Q&A?
Talking game. Wait, sorry, it's wrong section.
Is that a yes, Bernie Critic, or a no, Bernie Critic?
Yeah. I don't know what about it. It seems like I'm the only one who was kind of just okay with this episode. I obviously within the context of the rest of the series, it's definitely not among the best or the greatest, but I think at this point it's rather hard for them to, it's going to be rather hard for them to pull out, another great episode, a season 4 finale, what's that? The Applejack Parents episode, Gauntlet of Fire. It's going to be real hard for them to do those sorts of things. So just looking at this episode on its own, I just came into it going, do they present the story that they wanted well? Were the characters enjoyable and likable? And I have to say that they were. I enjoy watching the Young Six, and this is coming from a guy who wasn't all that into the Young Six when they were introduced. But I've kind of grown to enjoy them. I almost enjoy watching their episodes as much, if not more, than the main six. And so, it's just, is it new? No, but does it do what it set out to do well? And I'd have to say it does. And I think that's ultimately where we need to be looking at this episode. I think we've gotten spoiled on needing every episode to be, this great epic adventure.
Hold on. So, having spoken to Big Jim Miller at recent conventions, he has confessed that they are 38% over budget for this season.
Uh-huh.
If this is not their vision to a T at 38% over budget, I don't want to know how far over budget he'd have to go to make it.
Over budget?
As in the budget they were given for season 9, he said that he is between 38 and 40% greater money spent than the initial budget he was given.
Jeez.
Because it's the last season.
I have to wonder then if they're saving some, if they saved some of that money for later episodes.
I'm gonna say that they're gonna save it for like the end, like the finale or something, because 38% over the budget that they had. I think we've seen shorter seasons that actually have a little bit kind of more
And
effort.
there's only one short season. That's season 3. The rest of them are 24 to 26 episodes.
I mean, he might have saved some money from last season because there seemed to be a lot of corner cutting in some of them, like the
Sombra.
No, not Sombra. I'm on about last season, just like the Applejack versus Rainbow Dash again. Rarity and Rainbow Dash falling out again.
That's not how this works, and we know it because you're given money for the season, and then you're not given more money unless you have to go ask for it, and then any money you don't spend gets recouped. So, if they're over budget, and this is the vision we have so far, episode 1 and 2, great. Episode 3, it sounds like we're kind of split down the middle on.
And episode, well, I'd say episode 1 and 2 were supposed. I think they overhyped it. Honestly, episode 1 and 2, they were like kind of making it seem like it was Infinity War again, but not really because they didn't really took it that far.
But I think they met the hype.
Yeah, if nothing else, if nothing else from the season opener, they just wanted to promote the fact that we're building a Legion of Doom.
I think the only reason we're split is because we have a different interpretation of the elements of harmony. You see them as the actual crystals, and it's like, oh, the ultimate super weapon's been destroyed, when I don't, because Nightmare Moon destroyed them. So technically, even in the very first episode, when Nightmare Moon shattered them, everybody should have been, oh, game over, boys. She shattered the crystals.
Endgame.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm on about. I'm on about the fact that they just repaired all the damage that was done like nothing had happened. There's a difference.
I mean, if you think about it,
there's a difference between adapting, which is what they do in the Nightmare Moon episode, and then the elements become something new, and just undoing all the damage and pretending like it never happened.
Well, I'm gonna actually argue on that. Is that nowhere in this episode do they imply that the Tree of Harmony is back, that the elements of harmony are back. If anything, that Spirit Twilight Crystal Twilight thing almost was giving like a fond farewell. Whatever this Treehouse of Harmony is, I think it is something different. They're building it up for this season as something else entirely. That, yeah, the Tree of Harmony might be gone, but it was all in the name of changing up whatever this episode is beginning the storyline for what this new treehouse is, which I bet the next couple of Young Six episodes are going to involve that in some way. And it's eventually obviously going to resolve itself in Grogar and the Legion of Disharmony.
And the the tree actually did say at the end, this is a sanctuary. We can come to be safe, something like that. So, they'll probably expand upon that later. So we'll see how that goes.
There's an idea. It protects the young six after Grogar does the whole Grogar gets the bell, does the whole snap thing. Everyone's wiped out or enslaved until the young six who are protected by the tree, and they save everybody. And Kumbaya, My Little Pony, and they lived happily ever after. The book closes. My Little Pony.
Until the movie.
Mine Fiaura's pony.
I'm just going to quickly say, I don't want the book to close. Like, this whole secret Generation 4.5, I hope it's a spin-off with just the Student 6. Like, we get a little bit of a time skip where Twilight's now full princess.
Hold on.
We're getting off topic.
Reel it back. We're getting off topic. I like where you're going. Like, admittedly, I want to sit here and listen to where you're going, but we're getting off topic. And we do that a lot. Does anybody else have anything they want to talk about for this episode, or do I need to move to Q&A? Moon Knight.
Okay, for this episode, because the tree is apparently a new thing, it's what I said. Like, it's not only the friendship of ponies now, it's actually the friendship of new creatures, and that's actually kind of going to build up. Now, if it is going to be that, like, that idea that Brony Creek said, that it's going to protect them for later episodes, as the tree said, because it looks kind of like a more of a kind of safe house, and even the roots of like this new sort of tree are a lot bigger than what the other tree was, and it was kind of it was bad looking. Like, honestly, it was just like ridiculously bad kind of design. But if they actually do that, I think they're copying certain other thing that some people have seen, where someone was saved because it was in this kind of place. So I hope they don't do that, please.
Q&A.
Anybody else? I don't know. We're going to give one last chance. Okay. We have a couple questions. Not nearly as many, again, because we didn't have as long a discussion. Because, we're down half of our guys for this weekend. Thank you, thank you, Avengers. First question. Mario Rockport wants to know, do we think the Student 6's Treehouse is just another toy advertisement?
Student 6 Treehouse, $29.99.
I mean, if they do pull it off, like Crystal Twilight saying it's a sanctuary, and that line does get used where it will protect them from Grogar's snap, then at least you did say early on in advance that it is going to be used.
I think it's not gonna be another toy because A, I think we already have enough castles, and B, they didn't show it on the toy fair thingy. Like, they usually show everything that's going to come. Like, even Queen Nova's castle and Twilight's school was shown on the last toy fair and the one before that one. So I don't think they're doing it for marketing, because if they did, they would have to do either Gallus or Silverstream's model, which they don't have the mold for it. B, they would have also to do Smolder and Yona, and they don't have the molds for them. So I think they're going to save that for Gen 4.5 or 5 if they actually are going to make it a bit of a continuous story rather than a new generation. And also we have the movie, so I think they're saving stuff.
Which admittedly is very sad to me, that it's been an entire season, it's a year later, and we still don't have Smolder toys.
I know.
Or Yona toys. Where's my Yona toys?
I know, like, Gallus. Gallus is best.
You know I would buy Yona and Gallus and just put them on, and just put them like.
Me too.
You know what they're inferring? Just wait for another couple of weeks till we've wrapped everything up, maybe with the movie, and then Generation 4.5, where we include every creature. We're getting there.
Well, and then there's also an element we have to think about is, what if the Crystal Treehouse is also an apology for Twilight's Castle? And I say that, and I actually say that because it is a treehouse made of crystal. I think it was, and it's located at the.
We're gonna put you on the defendant stand right now. Defend that statement, sir.
Well, when in the episode where Twilight got her really out of place Crystal Castle, they also destroyed the Tree Berry, which was a beloved icon, and a lot of fans got really upset about it, and the fact that it got replaced by this really ugly Crystal Empire style castle in the middle of nowhere. Especially because also in that season, it had been building up almost, they were repairing the Everfree Castle almost like the newly crowned Princess Twilight was going to occupy Everfree Castle. So all that's going on, and none of those turn out until we get the ugly castle treehouse, and most of, or the ugly castle tree, or ugly crystal castle. Thank you. Bleh. And then at the end in the final season, which they seem to be doing a lot of, hey fans, you wanted to see this? Here you go. We're finally showing it because we literally, this is the last hurrah, the last chance to do it. So what did they introduce in this episode? A tree that's made of crystals that resides in the Everfree forest where the castle is. It's almost a perfect replacement of the Twilight's library, but with all the elements from that we were expecting her new castle to be.
Wait! You actually brought a good point. Wasn't Twilight saying, "Oh, the Everfree Forest is more dangerous than you may remember. The castle is more dangerous than you may remember it before"? Didn't they just teleported there, like in the episode, with no one really hurt or anything?
So
I'm just gonna rebuttal that and say it could also be seen as a slap in the face because nobody wanted the Golden Oak Library to go.
Hashtag never forget Golden Oak.
Yeah, and now they're saying, oh, by the way, here's a real crystal tree house, just so that you remember that we once did have a really good tree house and we blew it up.
This is why, as far as I'm concerned, you shove Tyrek back in Tartarus and you lock the key or you kill him.
I love how this conversation started from a simple marketing ploy to we got into a very deep conversation about the.
And
I say never say never.
Because it's true, they had the freaking tree already. I think they actually made a tree house, market toy.
He's right. We went from a very in-depth conversation about if this was a new toy to why they shouldn't destroy the Golden Oaks Library and murder Tyrek.
No, but really, did they ever do a toy of the Golden Oak Library? I have one of
I have one. It's right,
tree,
no. I have a Golden Oaks Library playset as the centerpiece over here on my shelf.
So they just blew it to get another castle toy.
Yep. They don't even make that place. After they blew it up, they stopped making that playset too. So I have it. It's right there. It's never going to be made ever again.
It was never destroyed. It's still there right now. You can see it.
Okay. Next question from Magical Starfish. Will Twilight ever see Tree of Harmony version of herself?
I mean, she has seen the other hair that is in Equestria Girls, so maybe. But then again, the Rainbow Dash in Equestria hasn't seen the Equestria Girls one, so maybe.
I want Twilight and Crystal Twilight to have an interaction.
I'm sorry, Magical Star Flash. I had a moment of dyslexia. Please forgive me for calling you a fish.
I want Twilight and Tree Twilight to make out.
Yes.
All the fan fiction.
Someone please do that on the.
So this is a simple yes or no. Do we think that the Student 6 are going to become the new elements and move to Ponyville?
They kinda already are, so yeah.
No, they already are the elements because they've harmonized twice at the finale and now, and they're going to rule the Everfree. I bet they're going to clean up the Everfree and make it not dangerous because that's where their castle's based.
Okay. Anyone else want to weigh in before I move to the next one?
Oh, or maybe they're gonna be rulers of the other lands, freaking Ember is gonna pass it to Smolder, Thorax is gonna pass it to Ocellus.
So this one is directed at Insane Spyro. Can we get fan art of Silverstream dressed as an artist making art in a passionate way?
Bob Ross Silverstream.
Bob
I kind
Rothstream.
of like that idea. But for now, people have already done it. But you know when she didn't have her Wonderbolt, outfit.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I think this next question we're all.
There
Oh
you
my
go.
god! Oh my god!
Yes. Yes.
Wonderbolt
Yeah.
hippogriff.
Yes.
I do think it's kind of funny though that this does imply that this is actually what Silverstream wants, which I think it'd be actually because the whole opening of this episode is a dream sequence and the combination of their dreams and nightmares. The fact that Silverstream wants to be a Wonderbolt, that could be really interesting to see what they do with that. If not in this season, then of course maybe in Gen 5 or Gen 4.5.
I could totally imagine Silverstream doing tricks and then transforming into Sequestria version of Silverstream and diving through water and then popping back out in mid-flight formation.
The Wonderbolts Marine Division.
There we go, the Wonderbolts Marine Division.
It's almost like including other creatures actually helps to make more stuff.
Oh yeah, speaking of the dream thing, can we just take 1 second to really hammer the writers for how mean they're being to Gallus with his claustrophobia? This is twice now you've
That
had
is
the poor
messed
child
up.
having a heart attack.
Smolder gets to be Princess Smolder, and Silverstream gets to be a Wonderbolt, and Seabreeze gets to have literally the "I'm too high to figure out which cake I want" moment. What does Gallus get? Claustrophobia attack.
Yeah, but no, it's fair because 3 of them have dreams and 3 of them have nightmares. Ocellus has- because can I say something, please?
Sure, go ahead.
Thank you. It's fair and balanced because they have the three with a dream, 3 with a nightmare, but all of them reveal something about the overall character at play. Gallus has extreme claustrophobia, but it's more than that. Is what was happening in that episode is he was being shut out. A door was closing in his face. It almost looked like he was being closed or locked down into a basement. He's not afraid of cramped spaces just as so much as he's afraid of being alone, which plays into a lot of the ways he interacts with all the characters. Yona was having a nightmare about falling, the most common nightmare there is. And Ocellus was having the, oh no, we're late for the finals and we haven't studied nightmare.
Actually, you're wrong because there were 4 nightmares if you count sandbars. So that's not fair at all. Why? And also, why a freaking windmill? What was the point?
We could argue the semantics of why this is fair and why this is unfair for literally the next 2 hours and not get anywhere, and we all know it.
Oh no, I get that, but he's had to suffer twice now. He suffered in the cave, and now he's suffering in his mind. Can you give him a break?
Let's agree to disagree on this one. I think we will all say yes to this question. Do we want a spin-off series starring the Student 6?
Yes.
Bring it on, yes, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'd be good with that.
4.5. I am banking money that 4.5 is the Student 6, where all the main 6 are time skipped to their final part of the arc, where Twilight's a princess, Rainbow Dash is captain of the Wonderbolts. So they're all done, their arcs are done, and we get the Student 6 as the main characters.
Please.
Or if you wanted to do something else, if you're doing a Gen 5 as the next generation, have the Young 6 be the teachers at the school.
No.
Twilight and the Friends are the Council of Friendship, leading Equestria, playing this Princess Celestia role, and you have the next generation be a set of new characters.
I'm gonna say yes, but no at the same time. You can go, yeah. I'm just gonna say something really quick to show you. I'm gonna say yes and no because if they introduce more characters, do you really think they can deal with all these characters now? They're gonna have to deal with the main 6, with the Student 6, and whoever 6 we get because there's always 6 or 3, and they couldn't even handle the CMC right on some episodes. So I highly doubt they can
Well, that's where I'm going with this, is that the main six wouldn't be main characters. They'd be guest stars. We'd have episodes where we'd never see the main six, but every so often Princess Twilight will come in and talk, or an episode involving the new Pegasus character, and oh hey, look who this is. And I just got to meet Captain Rainbow Dash of the Wonderbolts. And we see this character show up as an adult now, fully realized, and they play a little role. And it would be a loving tribute for fans of Gen 4, but they become side characters. It's effectively like in Star Trek The Next Generation when Spock would show up. Spock didn't show up in every single episode, but when he showed up, it was amazing and wonderful because this was a fully fleshed out, realized character, and the fans appreciated it. But the focus was always on the next generation.
Or maybe it would just be Fallout Equestria.
No thanks. They won't. If they can't pull an Infinity War or an Endgame arc, I don't think they can pull something like that.
Okay, and last question. What if the treehouse is meant to be connected to all the other castles in order to defeat Grogar?
Like
A
an
beacon!
phantom thing.
I mean, I kind of get that because they're all made of crystal. We'd need a map though. Like, where is Cadence's crystal castle in relative to Twilight's crystal castle, in relative to the students' crystal castle? Do they make like a triangle and Grogar has to be in the center? Like, we need a map to kind of like cross-reference where the crystal castles are.
I mean, if you kind of think about it, that's probably gonna make actually like a big area. If you take into consideration Queen Novo's castle, because I think that one also has a lot of powerful magic because of the pearl. Go on, show you.
It's also made of crystal.
I don't want to be the mean guy here, but that seems like incredibly crackpot. Like everyone else has been saying, we need to know where the castles are if it makes any kind of shape, and are in that spot for a long time just so we can be vanquished.
The castle's over there.
You know what the worst thing is? What if somebody does get the map now and puts all the X's down and it does like make a triangle or a square and they're like, coincidence?
Let me do that.
Calm down. We're going game theory level analysis on this. We better like tone it down a little bit.
Oh, we know it's not gonna happen because the writers aren't actually like this smart, but we like to theorize. Think we can dream. We can have hopes.
All right. So, does anybody have any final closing thoughts?
I have the art.
Well, actually, I would
right,
like.
you have the artwork.
Well, I actually want to respond to one of the folks in the comment section.
Go ahead.
Secret Music 22 made the comment about if the if the young six are kind of playing that teenager, as the teenage or adult role, about how it's not being, it can't be called My Little Pony anymore if the main characters aren't ponies. I would make the argument that that's not really the case, because who were the main characters of Gen 1 of My Little Pony?
That is true.
Humans. The ponies were side characters in the show called My Little Pony. So the point of My Little Pony at this point, and what's more, is that we've been introduced, and the writers were actually very clever in this regard, in that they've acclimated us to being accustomed to there being more than just ponies in the My Little Pony franchise. So now is actually the best time they could possibly introduce basically whatever they wanted, and they know that it could potentially work. A new arrangement, a new lineup is right out there in the open, and they've been building up for it for a while. So I'd actually be rather excited to see what they do with it.
Can I say something quickly?
Alright, one sec. I can just add to that as well. It's to do with marketing and it's to do with subtitles. Yeah, the main big thing that you see is My Little Pony, but it's the subtitle that matters. And if we call it My Little Pony Creatures of Equestria, well, we didn't lie, because it is about creatures of Equestria.
My little creature.
Okay,
my
well, while we
little
wait for
creature.
Spyro,
I used to wonder what creatures
no singing, no singing.
Or
Bad.
or
Badness.
or you could even do My Little Pony Equestrian Adventures if you want to go for a more more in line with Faust's original lineup for the show and make it more adventure oriented. Which
Faust-
that is
Faust-
Okay, so moving on.
Hasbro, you're listening. We want royalties for this.
Before we get off,
I'll
too
get it
far-
uploaded and Moon Knight can do his thing.
Okay, so while Spyro's uploading that, I have been Fiaura the Tank Girl. Spyro's working on something. We have all sorts of stuff we want to talk about. So in the meantime, Bernie Critic, we'll start with you. What are you currently working on?
I am currently, a couple of my episodes. I still need to find somebody who's willing to look through my my latest script for a review of Crusader, the musician. I am also working on a panel for TruckCon and BronyCon with Drew Flashy. It's going to be a timeline of all the episodes from a timeline of the show as a whole. We're actually making some really interesting progress and some really cool connections that the two of us are really excited about. But that's about it. I'm also doing a little bit of writing on the side.
Okay. Shoujo, what are you working on? Waiting on artwork to get uploaded right now. Shoujo,
Yeah?
you working on anything you want to talk about?
Nothing really, because as I stated in the last ending of the podcast, I'm kind of suffering motivation loss, and I can't find the strength to work on any projects or such. It's kind of laughable because I come to this podcast and offer my thoughts here and there, but that's like the only thing that I think I try to contribute to this. And I feel, what's the word? I feel a need to come here and be a part of this because I signed up to be a part of it, and I feel like I'll be letting you guys down if I didn't show up. So I don't have anything else that I'm working on at the moment. So I'll pass off to Moon Knight if you got anything.
Well, Moon Knight, I think I'm kind of on the same thing because I am working now and I have so much free time and I do some other stuff on the weekends. But yeah, well, I was gonna say that the three castles actually kind of make a triangle because they're kind of specific positions. And the curious thing is they're actually surrounding Ponyville, so that could be interesting.
Okay. Master Go, what are you working on?
Well, for me, I'm gonna be scripting with a mystery person. I won't reveal yet, but it's gonna be scripting on the 200th episode, and in the future, when another mysterious person I've also going to be scripting with on the actually the season 9 opener. That's going to be in the future too. And then in terms of in between, I'm mostly just going to be uploading all of my Borderlands Let's Plays. I left off entering New Haven, so that's how far I got.
So let me ask a question: Is this are these mystery people already chosen, or are you just declaring mystery people and you're still working on that part?
No, no, it's already chosen. You shall
Thanos.
see. Woo!
Making sure. And say Sparrow, what are you working on?
You cursed it, Fiaura. You just cursed it. You know, I opened Google to do what you said, Google Drive. It's just crashed the internet. I'm going to have to, reset. Not my router. I can stay here, but I've got to reset the browser now. But I am working on the complete saga of Anthem from 7 years ago to right now. The final moment where their live stream was a total lie and all the stuff on their roadmap is not going to happen, and it was great. And there's even a little animatic which I've half done because I'm right at the end, so it'll be up sometime this week, which has got yourself in it where you're singing to EA about how much of a lying scumbag they are. But yeah, just give me 2 seconds. If you need to stall for a minute, stall. Talk about
All right, I can
things.
stall. So hi
Okay,
everyone.
talk about Endgame.
While we're waiting on artwork, I am Fiaura the Tank Girl. I am at present working on Fallout Equestria Dead Tree chapters 31, 32, and 33. I will be at Everfree Northwest next month on my birthday. They've invited me to do a bunch of panels there. I'm doing 2 panels there, and I've got like 5 panels they've invited me onto, most of which concern writing. Fallout Equestria Dead Tree is officially, according to Virginia State Court, been recognized as a parody. I win, Hasbro. I win. And the first bookshelf it went on is Jersey Cards and Comics. They actually have 12 copies distributed between their 5 stores currently on the shelf.
Woo!
I'm
We
working
need more
on
time to stall.
I'm working on Volume 2.
you wanna do-
Actually, we just got the cover art for Lightning Bliss from Volume 2.
Ooh.
And I'm working on getting the second printing of Volume 1. I'm currently building the money for that over the next couple weeks because it's... well, I'm not going to be paying the full $3,000 plus, but I'm still going to be paying about half of it. But yeah, I can... Should I show them the cover art?
Do it, Philly.
Oh shoot, it's all in PSDs.
Right, it's uploading now, and you know, you have all, just while this one's uploading, you've all given me so many ideas for this week. I have the potential of something that happened in this episode, from what was said. I have a potential of Twitch saying silver streamers Bob Ross. I have now Mastercode, where we can dress Fiaura as a little filly, and I also have Fiaura from the very beginning calling everybody ducks, so everybody gets to be dressed as a duck. There's so many things to do.
Quack.
Quack. I mean,
Quack.
sure. Actually, what I'm going to have to do to show this off, I figured it out. I'm going to have to open it in a special thing, and then I'll be able to show you guys the thing.
Well, you can do it whenever you're ready now, so you can show off your cover first, or whatever you want to do.
Okay, so we're going to have to switch to a desktop capture. Dun dun dun. You get to see everything I'm looking at.
Get to see the desktop.
There we go. You can see everything I'm looking at now. So there is the front cover, and here is the back. Side by side. Ha. And this is actually
Side by
done.
side.
This is actually done by Lightning Bliss for us. And here's the new spine. So you can see front, back, and spine. I do it right. There we go. Did it right.
We did it.
Anyway, that's volume 2. But yeah, you got artwork now, right? It's uploaded, ready to go.
Yeah, I've got the link. So put the first one up first, because that was the part 1, and I'll give a quick explanation of part 1, and because it now leads in to part 2, which I hoped we could do live, but
Well, go ahead and show me the link so that I can get it up. Because if you show me the link as a shared link, I can download it and get it up.
nice. Also, I thought of another one, which I am really surprised that nobody else thought of. So,
So go
you
ahead
got
and
married
explain
on
this.
Saturday.
Yeah, I got married.
You got married on Saturday. Congratulations. And I found out that your real name is Renna. And nobody has ever drawn Wandering Sunrise as Renna Mon. How
Excuse
is
me, what?
How has nobody made that comparison?
Because
Or not.
99% of the people don't know my real name.
Oh.
Like, I intentionally don't ever mention my... I don't even introduce myself as Rena anymore. I always introduce myself as Fee.
Oh, wow.
Even my wife calls me Fee or Fiaura more often than she calls me Rena.
Oh, damn.
The difference being that when she says Rena, I know to stop what I'm doing, turn and go, Yes, dear. Why are
Yes,
you
man.
upset?
But so last week we saw this picture, which is Fiaura or Sunrise looking a little bit anxious as somebody wants some bits off of her, and we didn't know why. However, it was BronyCon last week, and now we get to find out why.
It was BabsCon, and what in the bloody...
BabsCon,
What did you do to BrodyCon?
So, yeah, you see, Moneybags in this dimension of this podcast dimension, I guess. Well, obviously, ponies are a lot more extreme than humans. You know, they have magic, they have all sorts of crazy little devices. So they're more than likely to ruin certain buildings. So he bought up all the convention centers so that he can collect on any damages caused. And, you know, when you bring a crazy cast like us to a convention, lots of chaos and damages will ensue. With you obviously having to explain the situation to him about what's happened to
Are
BronyCon.
you forcibly Bowser crowning Aeon?
No, it's not Aeon. That is an OC. All of the con goers are OCs. That is Grey Day. But yes,
Did you
Mistress
steal
Code.
Queen Quake's dress and put it on yourself?
It looked like a rubber suit to me, and I was originally going to have everybody in cosplay, like Lightning Bliss in the Team Fortress 2 heavy outfit, but it started to get a little bit too cluttered. So, yeah, Mistress Code is forcefully super crowning somebody because
Yep, I'm about to rape somebody, apparently.
it's better that way.
Like
Lightning Bliss is shooting rainbow-powered friendship bullets, which is they're for everybody, they're free, and nobody knows exactly how the bullets work, but they're a bit like stand arrows from JoJo. So if you get shot with the stand arrow, you get a stand. If you get shot with Bliss's rainbow bullets, you get rainbow power, potentially, or just some flesh wounds. Moon Knight has got the OG barbecue sauce, which is just pouring out in an infinite amount, and I'm just using some evil red lava magic as the Queen would to rise up and burn the flying ponies. So please explain to Moneybags why you brung us here.
No comments. I'm gonna leave
See?
now.
B, are you okay? How's it going?
My trauma is real. Every week I think I'm going to escape. And then, you know, Insane Spyro shows artwork.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Darkness, my old friend, has nothing to do with this. Don't you slander Darkness's good name.
All around me are familiar faces.
And yes, Nelson, the same Moneybags from Spyro. Because I wanted, like, I needed a rich business pony that owned all these buildings, but I didn't just want to use some generic guy like Filthy Rich. So I was like, he's a rich guy, he wears a monocle, and everybody hates him, so I'm gonna ponify him. And Skullman wants that art piece. I will put that in Fiora's Discord in a moment when we're done. So if you're in Fiora's Discord, you can get it off her, or I can just like put the stash link in this chat.
If you want to retain just that little itty bitty teeny tiny sense of sanity, you might want to wrap up.
I agree. So, I've been your host, Fiaura the Tank Girl. These are my lovely friends, Insane Spyro, Master Code, Moon Knight, Burb, Shoujo, and the Brony Critic, traumatizing me every week as usual. We'll see you guys next week. What's next week's episode? Twilight 7?
You're
Is it
welcome.
episode 200?
200 episode.
It's
I think.
episode
Twilight
200?
7.
Okay. We'll see you guys next week for episode 200, the one where all the memes are coming from recently.
At the end of Endgame, you actually see the crate.
Did you say memes?
And you say Maymays?
Also, if I'm not here, just assume I've been kidnapped by Insane Spyro.
Yes.